I guess I didn't ask this. Is this a reality show or is it scripted?
I mean, probably both, but either way, I'm hooked. I'm thinking about, putting myself in, throwing my hat in the ring.
Okay.
Conversation is, 95% of a relationship, right?
Yeah, but is it on the same channel as My Strange Addiction? Because didn't you get booted off that?
Well, I don't like to I wrote a lot of letters, okay? I had a lot of ideas.
But I mean, they aired that episode, so it's like...
Well, apparently
people know.
Shut the fuck
people.
Fuck.
What the
You guys see these?
What the fuck are you doing in here, you delinquent?
It's fucking flip-flops, dude. It's so cold outside for flip-flops.
Okay.
You're a fucking idiot.
Toes they're black on the end.
Yeah, they didn't flip or flop because they're ice blocks.
Yeah, it hurts to wear them.
I would have heard you if you came in with flip-flops. Ground's
What are you dipshits doing? Season 2 of the store, huh?
None of your fucking business. Get out.
Yes, we are in our second season of the store. That is right, Tough Teen.
The fuck does he get
Where
this information?
have you been? By the way,
would you go to juvie again?
Juvie.
I don't know why I care. Okay.
I fucking knew it.
You know where I'd be.
Gosh.
What do you
want?
Wow, what do you want? Get in and get out. There's no
Skeleton movie. Skeleton movie.
We don't have any, dude. We haven't fucking none.
Do
You say that.
skeletons
Of
on
course.
the next category.
Shut up. Listen, we know you want a skeleton movie, but we need you to say skeleton movie. That's part of our whole relationship. That's the dialogue tree. So when I ask, what do you want? You should just say skeleton. To have an attitude.
Clap your fucking hands. Clap your fucking hands, because I know you're going to fucking steal it. Clap your hands. Get away from the fucking candy, dude. Get away from it. Hands up, bro.
Whoa, you guys got Butterfinger BBs?
Yes, we are.
It's a special order, dude.
They haven't made these since the early 90s.
Don't fuck with that shit,
Got a great
bro.
deal. Got a great
You
deal.
guys want to see me dome them?
No.
No, pay for them first.
I'm going to take them to the dome.
Stop.
Wait. If you take all of them at the same time, you can have them.
For freeze.
Yeah, but you got to put them all in your mouth.
I'll give you whatever movie you want, but you got to return it on time.
Give me Skeletons Volume 3.
Done.
Done.
All right. Stand back.
Go.
Fucking take your hands out of your pockets. I don't like that.
Do it. You're not going to do it.
All right, here it goes.
Look at him.
Is
He's
he
fucking
fake?
choking. Nah,
Is he fake?
He's choking. Look at that
Is he
giant
faking?
lump in his throat.
There's like 20 BBs in that thing.
Fucking die, bitch. Fucking die.
Does that feel, motherfucker?
I can't wait for your fucking ice flip-flops to melt. I'm going to push you right outside the fucking store.
Fucking push him
Little
now, dude. It'll
bitch.
slide right out the fucking
Yeah,
door,
fuck
dude.
this kid. He is turning blue, though, so you should probably Heimlich
shit.
him. Because
You think I should?
yeah, it's not going to be worth it if he dies.
Code Red.
No. He swallowed that shit, bro. I can still see the lump.
Code Red.
Yeah.
To swallow that. No way. You're not washing it down with a Code Red.
All right. All right. Come here. Come here. I was like, yeah. 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 Spit it. You're supposed to spit it out. All right.
Dan, he did that shit just so you'd hug him.
I know. He wanted a hug.
Kid needs a hug.
You guys want a Code Red?
Yeah.
All right.
All right. You deserve it. Let's sit back. This kind of reminds me of a movie. This week on 5 Day Rentals, Swallow. Welcome back, everybody, to the 5 Day Rentals podcast. We are the video store podcast where each week we take turns picking a flick that we think meets a fun, non-genre category. This week's category is a brand new one called That's Not Healthy. And this week's movie is Swallow from 2019. I'm your host, Laundry Dan. I'll be taking you through this one this evening. I can't do it alone. Every week, it's like swallowing broken glass with these two gentlemen, my co-hosts, Bones and Kron. How are you?
Bonus.
Bonus?
Bonus.
Bone S.
Yeah.
Are you a plus now? Bones plus?
Guess you guys didn't watch the fucking movie. Hi, guys.
Hey, this movie doesn't make the bullshot drink look so bad when you think about it.
No, there's worse things to swallow than a bull shot. Yes, Kron. That's true.
Thank you for calling it a shot.
It's not a shot. The name of the drink is bullshot.
We have a special guest, and you're confusing the hell out of her right now. Yes, ladies, gentlemen, folks of all ages, we do have a special guest tonight joining us for Swallow with this first kickoff for That's Not Healthy. She is coming all the way from Kansas City, Missouri, representing the Midwest. She's a producer, she's a writer, she's a stylist, she's a director. Ladies, gentlemen, please welcome Jill Gevargizian to the podcast.
Hello. I expected a crowd to start cheering after that.
I can edit that in if you want.
Yeah, we
the track that the old shows had. Thank you for having me, guys.
Oh,
I'm
welcome.
excited to talk about this movie.
Thank you for your time. Like I said, I know everybody's busy. But Jill, please tell everybody where they can find you, promote anything you want.
All right. You can find me on all the social medias at Jill6 with 2 X's. And then if you should still follow the Stylist because there's still new things happening. But I also have a film out playing festivals right now that I help produce called Black Mold. And we're at Black Mold Film. So we should be having release info soon about that one. But yeah. And my website, sixtape.com, that I desperately need to update, that I'm reminded every time I say this on an interview. Shit. So don't look at it. I need to fix it first.
Well, we don't even have a website, so you're fine.
Yeah.
Is the new one still like in the horror genre?
Black Mold is, and it's like a thriller horror. It was directed by John Pata, who actually is connected to the Stylist too. He edited the Stylist, and it's a lot of the same crew, the same cinematographer, production designer, composer. But I also have a new film in post-production that I can't yet announce the title. Dying to, but hopefully that'll be playing festivals next spring starting.
And you went up to Massachusetts for that one, right?
Maryland. That general area, which I first couldn't tell you how close they were till I was up there. But yeah, I worked with Ed Sanchez, the director of the original Blair Witch Project. He produced this one. So we were up in his stomping grounds near where they shot Blair Witch, which I did geek out and go to a couple of the locations.
Does anybody go out there and leave the little like figure things?
Not that I found, but I went to like the town Burkittsville that they start the movie in, and that little cemetery, and the mayor of the town, which the town is like 200, maybe 100 people, walked me around the cemetery and told me about it. It was really cool. But Ed's daughter, Bianca Sanchez, worked on my film, and she made one of them while we were shooting something. And I took one thing off so it wouldn't be exactly the same, so I couldn't possibly get in any kind of copyright trouble. But I put it in the background of a shot. No one will ever notice, because I also changed it because I was scared about the legalities of that.
I was going to say, now that's going to be the only thing I'm going to be looking for. Like,
I just blew it.
Looking in the background of every frame.
Well, we've never changed anything on this show because we realized we were afraid after immediately saying it. So don't worry. Never. You know, I'm obsessed with people throwing the pizza at the Breaking Bad house. Do people kick a map into the river whenever they visit the Blair Witch Stomping Grounds? Because that hurts nobody.
They should.
It's compostable.
As long as they're not polluting, that part is where I have a problem. Okay. But
you're gonna end up with like 30 maps.
Hilarious.
Dude, it depends on who your favorite character is. I mean, I put the beanie on and just let my nose run.
I think my favorite character is the Blair Witch because they win in the end. So
we don't know that.
Winner.
Yeah.
Dude could still be Blair Witching in the corner.
Wait, I have to brag. I'm a huge Blair Witch nerd, so it was hard for me to like play it cool, which I didn't even try when we were making this movie. But the Mike Williams, who plays the guy staring at the wall in the corner, is in the film as well. And he told us lots of cool stories about the making of, and we were just geeked out. Trying to act like we're professional filmmakers while really just nerding out with the actor about all these stories.
Yeah, that's always been one of my favorites. So, jealousy over here. Jelly, as the kids say. Guys, that's a reference to jealousy. You got it?
Yeah, I think I've heard that before.
I don't think I'm ready for that reference.
Oh, I think somebody famous sings like a song like that or something.
Nope.
You know you're a part of the beehive, dude. Huge beehive over here. All right. Yeah, we're talking to Jill. She is the director of The Stylist. It is a movie that you can, I believe it's still on Shudder and Arrow. Yes. If you have the Arrow streaming service. But buy that shit. How about that? Help her out. I did come across The Stylist. We did a category called Demanding Women, where it was just women directors. And it was actually my choice for a little bit. And then I was like, oh, maybe I can get Jill on the show at some point. So I chose a different path there. And here we are. Dreams do come true, guys.
They do.
Yes.
You just have to make them happen.
I will give Dan credit. He is the tenacious one of the three. I think, speak for Kron and myself, we would rather just stay in our own little nook and not have to embarrass ourselves in front of people. But Dan doesn't care. He just causes the problem and I have to fix it. So
he's your guys' front man of the band?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd definitely be on bass in that band.
You guys throw drugs at me all the time. That's why I'm like this.
That's the only way you'll show up.
Yeah,
I'm trying to drum and mix and take tickets. It fucking sucks.
It's part of the band life, dude.
Jill, we apologize in advance.
Yeah, the show's bad, so thank you.
Yeah, the show's bad.
It's badass. All right, guys. They don't have any confidence. I tell them all the time, you got to have confidence in yourself. Fake it till you make it, man. Come on. We're here. We're going to be bigger than Joe Rogan. I don't know. But we are here to talk about a movie tonight. Jill gave us her time to talk about Swallow from 2019, directed by Carlo Marabella Davis. First watches for Crons and Bones?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Hadn't even heard of it.
Right. Me neither. Jill?
It was my second watch. I was very hyped when it first came out. And I'm even more hyped when I watched it again.
Awesome.
Well, that's good. Opening thoughts, gentlemen. We'll start with you two first.
I mean, it is effective, right? I think I was uncomfortable while watching this movie for like the 10-minute mark onward. So it's pretty disturbing. Like, we'll get there, but watching someone eat a marble even is troubling.
Yeah,
and marble's like best case scenario.
100%. So. That should be smooth as hell. It's not a Jax piece. Yeah, I would agree with you. I'm not going to give away the ending, but when the ending is a sigh of relief, you know the first hour and a half leading up to that was pretty brutal. So, very effective, 100% Cron.
And Jill?
Well, I have to agree with the disturbing element of this movie. I have so many things to say, but I'm sure we can get into detail about that crap. But I really like this movie, and I think I'm most impressed by how confidently made it is. It's like it just feels like it has such a strong and clear vision. It's not like this guy's first feature, and it's more confidently made than some filmmakers ever make anything. You can just feel like there was some like discipline and rules and intentionality behind every single moment. And I really like that filmmakers like that have, you can feel it instantly. It's like so confident.
Yeah. I think it's a great acting job here by our main character, Hunter. And I think on the second viewing, I think you catch a few more things, just maybe her facial expressions and stuff like that. But I'm not going to expose a lot because all of you have to guess my letterbox tonight. So you guys want to move into that? Please rate my letterboxed.
Jill,
We're guessing your star number, correct?
Yeah.
For letterboxed. Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to give Dan a 4.0.
Yeah, it's a good guess. I'm going to say 4.0 as well.
I want to say something different just to say something different, but that's where I was leaning. Honestly, since I thought about the movie since watching it Monday, I'm about to raise my star, realizing how much I like it. I'll go with 4. Should I do something 4.5 for fun?
So 4.5. All right. Is what Jill's giving me. That's not. Do
you reveal this at the end, or you
tell
us now? Okay.
We'll guess each other's as well.
Okay.
Just for shits and giggles.
One of the many convoluted things of this show. So
it'll make sense like 50 episodes in. You'll be like, oh.
Yeah, it'll finally click. Yeah.
Don't do that to yourself, please.
But it is good to have the listener on the edge of their seat through this entire recording, because they'll just be waiting until the end for Dan to finally tell us what his letterbox score is.
To say a number. Yeah.
What if I didn't rate it? Does the show never end?
I think the whole premise of the show is that we rate the movie at the end. It's kind of the one thing that we do.
I'm trying to find just a loophole to where we can record for like 17 hours straight. Not tonight.
The loophole is your computer software will not handle that.
I got 10 gigs running to this baby.
Cool.
You know how many power stations I got outside?
10 gigs is not that much anymore, Dave.
Power station.
You live in a city without 5G, Kron. What are you talking about?
You could basically play like Doom 2 on your computer, and that's about it.
What if what Dan meant about power station outside, it was like Robert Palmer and like the rest of the supergroup just like rocking out outside? It's a deep fucking cut.
That is, you're showing your age with that cut, bro.
Just learn it.
No one listening is going to know what you're talking about.
Just learn it.
You know, Peter Gabriel's putting out a new album here soon. First one in 21 years.
The Sledgehammer?
Yeah, supposedly it's pretty good.
Sledgehammer Part 2, dude.
The smash.
Isn't Jimmy Buffett putting out a new album? And he's dead, dude.
Hey, man. Relax. I'm a parrot head. Don't bring up that. You know I went through a 2-week depression. I'm a parrot head.
But I think, he's at least giving you one more album.
Jill, favorite Jimmy Buffett song? Go.
I don't know his songs well enough to say this.
Kron, favorite Jimmy Buffett song? And it can't be 5 o'clock somewhere.
Cheeseburger in Paradise.
That's a great song, actually. Quick question, gentlemen. Did your wives watch this movie?
God, no.
I think this would have been...
No.
She would have checked out pretty quick.
Mine watched the whole thing.
Okay.
Yeah. Tougher than your guys' wives. Jill, did anybody watch it with you?
No, I watched it with a friend when it first came out, but not this time. I was nerding out with my notes.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's what we
I
love
like to do
see.
that with movies, and like I like to study movies when I'm watching them by myself, and I did it this time to be prepared for this, but also it's like, I didn't do this last time I watched it. And it makes me realize how much, I don't know, you think way more about a film. It's like I'm like really in a class. I take notes.
I think it helps with us because each host has to plot. And I think when we first started this, me and Karan, we operate on a dingy level of what we can get into with movies. And we were like, yeah, we're going to bring this crazy ass movie. And then you realize once you start rolling through plot, you're like, I don't want to make them suffer through this because I got to plot this thing. So I think we kind of raised the bar a little bit with that. Bones, he has a certain level he won't dip towards. You get an action movie in there, he's fine. We could pull some shit that you'd be like, I'm not showing up for the show, guys. Later.
I put my plot notes against your plot notes, and Shakespearean prose against.
Are we talking grammar? You're including grammar? I can't even say including.
My 10 gig computer fixes my grammars for me.
I knew I should have upgraded.
I've just been doing my notes in Wingdings font. So it's just symbols, you know? Mm-hmm. I know what all of them mean.
Your emails are always weird.
Predator font. Predator font's basically Wingdings, right?
What, like for the movie?
No, just in general. Like, let me learn Predator
on
language.
His thing.
Yeah.
Dude.
Oh, I got you.
Because I thought the front of I goes, yeah, that's a badass as well. And then I was like, oh, the digital stuff.
Well, isn't his thing just like slashes and dots?
Isn't that all?
It's sideweight force.
Calligraphy?
Yeah, but Wingdings is like a hand pointing up and a man walking and
stuff.
stuff.
That's Wingdings. I'm sorry. That I couldn't understand then. So it's
like, Jill, what'd you do last night? I listened to 3 guys talk about the font from Predator for 15 minutes. All right.
That is what I would tell people.
Like, you got to listen to this show. All right. Any final thoughts on Swallow here up front before we start running this plot, gentlemen and ladies? Jill, I will congratulate you. You're busting walls out here on 5-Day Rentals. You are the first woman brave enough to be on 5-Day Rentals. So thank you.
Finally, you guys need to change it up. Damn.
I'm trying. I'm trying here.
100%. Yes. And I think this is a great movie for you to help guide us through as well. I might be leaning on some of your insight because of that. So I'll try not to. Let me say this. I think we were all kind of freaking out because like, oh, this might be too heavy of a movie in terms of some of the subject matter. So there's always this element of how far can you joke without it, being offensive. And I think this is like a great way to test that. So please feel free to call me out specifically on any bullshit. You can call them out on whatever, but if I get a little too much, please. I'm the sensitive one of the group. I'm the sensitive one. That's why.
It's true. He is. Which I don't.
Big saucy.
It works. Jill, you are the director, so you can call us 3 Midwestern idiots anytime you want. We will not be offended at all.
Hey, I'm Midwest as well.
Midwest, Kansas City, Missouri.
Yeah, but the 3 of us are idiots, so.
And we're from the middle of Missouri, so we're even more idiot. So, yeah. Well, Bones is in St. Louis, so I guess he's sophisticated.
Mm-hmm. I hold my pinky at an arch when I drink my tea.
I like what you did there, Arch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think that's in St. Louis, right?
Jill, he's going to
It
start
is.
eventually talking about the plot, and the whole point of it is to just interrupt the shit out of him. So we might get annoying with that, but also any actual insight is going to be appreciated because we often get so sidetracked we forget while we're here. So if you need to hold up like the wristwatch, like hurry the fuck up, by all means. We want to be respectful of your time, but the game is always how long can we make it go? So do never feel bad about wanting to jump in or cut him off or go back to something. Fair game.
Yeah. Anything you find interesting, if instead you jotted a note down where I'm at that part, just bust right in there. We don't care. I don't care. All right, gentlemen, we start off with the back of the head of our main character, Hunter here. She pushes it up to the left side. This is something she does throughout the film. This is actually the first shot that was shot for the movie as well. Hunter is a young woman from a lower working class family. She is recently married to Richie, a man from a wealthy family who is set to take over as the CEO of his father's Manhattan Corporation.
There are times in this where she looks like a hybrid of Jennifer Lawrence and Michelle Williams.
She does. She's so good too. You brought up her performance earlier, but she barely probably has any dialogue if you add it all up, but she doesn't even need to say a word. She's so good. It's just like she can perform an entire movie, I think, without saying anything.
I guess you put this on
What
mute.
is her name? I feel bad. I don't know.
Haley Bennett.
Okay. She's great.
But yeah, that's something I thought of too when after I'd watched this, was just like there's not a ton of dialogue from her character, and she, is definitely still like the main thing to be looking at on the screen. It's crazy. So
Yeah, it's still like really intimate without her having to say anything. You are so close to her watching the film.
Richie's father makes the CEO announcement at a dinner party. We also get some cuts in here of lamb being slaughtered for the dinner party because they're eating a lamb chop there. We get some few cuts of Hunter doing some stuff around the house. If you're living in that house, are you cleaning the pool by yourself? Wouldn't you have hired somebody for that?
You need to learn how to do it so you can instruct the help how you want it to be done, right? A good leader leads like from the front.
So you can yell at them when they do it wrong.
Yeah.
Is that what
and
you're
you
getting
can
at?
confidently back up. I know how to skim that fucking pool. So
Yeah. And the second time they do it wrong, that's when you go out there and you physically show them that you can clean a pool.
yeah. And had you not done that, you'd look like a fucking idiot.
there's also a difference too in cleaning the entire pool and getting a leaf out of it. You at least got to know how to work that skimmer net thing. You're not calling somebody every time a leaf falls in.
Kron's never cleaned a pool.
No,
You've never cleaned a pool.
we're from the Midwest, dude.
You don't need a
Why
skimmer
would I
for
own a
one
pool?
leaf. You just make a little whirlpool in one corner of it, and eventually, it might take an hour, but that leaf will come over to you. It'll get there.
Do you got to keep spinning the water the whole time?
Yeah, you got to have like 4 people going at one
Yeah.
time.
Oh, that's so fun. You ever do that?
It is. Whirlpool is pretty good though.
That's pretty cool.
It's a great exercise too.
Can I ask a question? If you're
Yeah, sure. What do you want?
hey, the PETA hippie that I am, no animals were harmed in the making of this movie. But if you're eating the lamb, are you allowed to slaughter it and show it being slaughtered and then eaten?
Like actually film it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Legally, no, I don't think you can.
Okay.
No, you cannot.
So that would have all had to been
I guess you could
some
film
sort
a
of
documentary. Now I'm wondering about this really way too seriously.
Yeah, it was just a genuine question because the lamb carcass looked graphic and gross, and it made me wonder, like, well, if they're actually cooking this and serving it, are they allowed to do that?
What's crazy is, and doesn't exactly make sense, but I guess it does. I'm an animal person, and people have asked me multiple times to use like animal parts in place of effects, and I'm like, no, that's getting rid of an entire job and the creativity. What's the point of that? Because I've been on sets where they've had like animal guts and it smells like disgusting as shit, obviously. But so people do buy things at like or butcher shops. Hair is always on my brain. And use it in films, but you can't legally kill something on it, which is an interesting hypocrisy. Not that I want people to kill things on camera. Please let me make that clear as hell.
You heard it here first.
They try to use some like the kind of rats that you feed to snakes in one of my movies, and I was like, no, even though I understand they're already dead, I just don't want to be a part of that kind of, like, I've made a clear rule for myself, so I can't go back on it now. But yeah, people do. I don't know. That was a rant, and I'm done.
Loved it. Loved it.
You're on the right show.
I'm good at ranting once it starts.
We got 150 episodes of it. I'm saying we could make a whole episode of just asking you director questions, I'm sure, but we'll do the movie, right? We'll do the movie.
It's tough.
You guys want to? I can clear it now. I can delete it. Turn off one of these generators. All right, this affords Hunter the ability to...
You'll be 5 gigs down, dude.
Yeah, dude.
You don't want to do that.
What was my total? What?
Your total was 10.
10, okay. All right, this affords Hunter the ability to stay at home in the couple's lavish upstate New York home. Nice looking house, we'll say that. They would not let us in this house at all.
Yeah, I was really jelly of it.
I don't know what that means.
Yes, you do. The house is so... Now I'm going to get too serious in order to supposed to be making jokes. The house is perfect for this film. Like, it symbolized like how, like the whole point, making her look so lonely.
She's in a glass
so
house.
Empty and still. I mean, even the camera work connecting to this, like the camera almost never moves, which most cinematographers are like, that takes a confidence that's crazy. Like, people just move cameras to make it seem interesting. Like, that's literally just this stupid thing that everyone thinks. And just like almost the whole time is just like still shot. Like a couple times it moves and it's like super obvious because it barely ever happens.
I like their color choices as well, with just a few bold in the back, like the green in the kitchen over the backsplash and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think it works, pops really good. God damn it, where am I at? All right, in their upstate new home, Hunter uses her time to make wonderful dinners. She could also be called the perfect stay-at-home wife, but Hunter finds herself emotionally stifled and isolated in both her marriage and domestic life, while Richie is distant towards her. Hunter is basically ignored by Richie during the dinner that she prepared for him one night. She even dressed up very nice for him as well. He even makes a comment, "Oh, wow, you look great."
Yeah, they kind of have like like almost a, 50s dynamic for a relationship where she like dresses up real nice for dinner. I guess she's expected to, have like 3 or 4 courses on the table. It just seems like it's all like it's like so fancy, it's almost unbelievable, But that very kind of old school mentality of like, I go work all day and you do this. So
I think a lot of the imagery is meant to incite that, right? Like a lot of her dresses have that sort of 50s flair, the classic her vacuuming,
Totally. I have a note literally that's like it's the 1950s. The whole like women were made to be seen and not heard. Like she should look pretty, but don't like expect him to actually listen to anything you have to say, or like no one treats her like a human being in this movie till that the like nurse they hire, which is truly just like a security to keep her from running away.
Yeah.
Sorry, I went ahead.
Oh, you're fine. All right. Yeah, we kind of touched on that. Her looks are from the 50s. They say a lot about her. She is into it at this point. But yeah, he just ignores her. He gets on the phone while she's trying to have a conversation about an Oasis album, Morning Glory. No, you guys aren't.
I don't
Oasis
remember
fans?
that
Okay.
part.
No, she's talking about flowers, brah.
Oh! What's the story, Morning Glory? But yeah, she is ignored. Gets on his phone.
Up
I
to
mean, it's
this,
opposite.
yeah, but up to this point, he's not terrible, right? At the dinner, he does thank her. He acknowledges her. I couldn't do it without her. He does sort of quote, or he's very thankful of the dinner and comments on her. You could even argue he apologizes about having to use the phone, right? It's not until he's like up with his family that you realize how ingrained his shittiness is.
I feel like that phone conversation though was like a quick decline. You realize like, oh, okay, he doesn't listen to her at all or care, or.
Mm-hmm.
And then she goes down this desperate attempt for, I think, someone to notice.
Mm-hmm.
Do we want more of Richie? Or is it just enough for the effectiveness of this movie, I think? Because, I agree with Bones. I think he has a seed in there that maybe he can realize daddy is doing this all, but
Yeah,
I mean, I think it works.
Yeah, and not to get too ahead, but there are times when he's not around his parents, he's not as bad. There's little seeds. And even when he is with his parents and he's not being proactive, his parents cut in and speak for him. So we'll talk about it on the phone call towards the end, but I think he's used the right amount. I want to say a great thing I think this movie is paced excellent. I think the runtime is perfect. It doesn't stew and sit too long. I think it books. Because I honestly think the second time I watched it, I was shocked at how fast we got to like basically the third act. Like, okay, this moves a lot quicker.
It's interesting because it is like technically, or like it is a slow paced film, but it's not. I feel like people started using slow as like a negative connotation. Like some things just they're supposed to be slow. It's not like you're saying, it's not an action movie. But it's unfolding. It earns like every moment. It doesn't feel like you're like just waiting for the next part, like for something to happen.
Yeah.
I don't know what some movies just like capture that magic. I don't know how, like what the difference is, but this one has it.
Yeah, I feel like with something like this too, you do kind of need, I mean, you need to have like some room to breathe in it, right? Like I feel like it is so intense at points that you do need like a slower paced dialogue scene to kind of break up how crazy some of the rest of the film gets. So I like that there is like a gradual progression, of like this film kind of starting small and ratcheting up the further you go into it.
Yeah. Oftentimes we say slow burn means there's nothing for 90 minutes and then it's going to shock you in the last 5, right? Like it, and I don't like that. That doesn't entertain me. But this to me is consistently burning.
Mm-hmm.
And
like tension building. It's like is uncomfortable.
Yeah.
All right. The next morning, we find out that Hunter is expecting a baby. She seems kind of down the middle with this information. Like I said, the second time you kind of see her reaction. I think the first time I watched it, you kind of go to Richie's conversation because he calls his parents to tell him. And she kind of smiles a few times, but she's also very, I don't know. You could tell she's thinking about it. I think that works very well. I think that was really, like I said, her facial expressions are wonderful, which I caught a lot more on the second viewing.
Also, when Richie calls his parents, he says, "We're pregnant." And that has always bugged me.
Yeah.
Do you not know how? Never mind.
I know. What
You
I'm
have to give the seed,
What I'm
so
saying
yeah.
is I don't think it's a 50-50 split enough to say, hey, we're pregnant.
Yeah, it's kind of a 99-1 split when
Yeah.
you get right down to it. I mean,
I will say I have 2 children, and I never said to my parents, "We're pregnant," because they would have been like, "No, you're not. You're just making this up."
Yeah,
So
you say
they give you money.
you say my wife fucked up again.
And I said, "No,
You
it's
put
not
all
mine.
the blame on her. Yeah.
It's not mine, guys. I need to move in."
As someone who's never been, I kind of like the idea of men saying that, like it's
Okay.
taking some sort of responsibility that so many do not at all. But then I hear that they're not actually carrying the thing and dealing with. That sounds terrifying. So, but yeah, like you were saying with her performance, I feel like, yeah, she's subtly showing this fear of being more trapped in this situation, like within this family where she has no one cares about her and has no control.
The hallway
That's
to
like
the
her slow
escape is longer.
realization. Yeah.
All right. Aimed one at Kron. This is a very nice house. I bet the microwave even has the correct calendar on it.
hey. All right, these guys, I told these guys one time, every time my power goes out in the house, to get my microwave to work again, I have to enter both the time and the date. And they thought that was insane. I don't know why it was just in the house when we moved in. I don't know why it's set up that way.
Because it was $40 because they were like, you got to set the time and the date and nobody wants to buy this thing. So that's why they put it in that house.
Probably. It microwaves food fine,
Yeah.
dude.
I'm trying to figure out a reason why a calendar, why a microwave ever needs to know what it is. It's like you could set it to like microwave stuff for you ahead of
I mean, the weirder thing is it's counting down days, which is very uncomfortable.
I was going to ask, is it a pre-Y2K microwave?
counting down. So you can set like your next exciting event is this many days away.
I don't know what's going to happen when it hits 0.
You've only got 90 bean burritos left.
It's like,
Well,
Dan,
That's
wisely.
the idea.
Let's call it 90 days of bean burritos at least.
let's be realistic.
Yeah.
Dan, you're a
This is
little
movie idea
wired.
where at the end the microwave, like something horrible happened. It explodes. I don't know. We need to make this movie.
I guess if he doesn't show up in 90 days, we'll know what happened. Mm-hmm. Like, Dan, you're wired today. What happened? My microwave went off. I didn't take my pills. It's my reminder. All right.
Okay.
Where are we at? Welcome to 5-Day Rentals, Jill. At dinner with Richie's parents, of course, they congratulate the young couple for their pregnancy. Richie's mom tells a strange ass story.
She's a rich mom.
about him sucking on a cat's tail. What the fuck?
Yeah, that story. I like how there's these subtle extra things that are just more like, what the fuck is going on?
It's like, yeah, the cat's tail was always wet. I'm like, I don't think as a child, I've never seen a child put a cat's tail in its mouth.
Don't you think the cat would fuck the kid up? Like,
Yeah.
my mom said I used to try to pick up our cat when I was really little, and it would like scratch the hell out of me. She was like, eventually you just learn not to do that, so it was fine.
Might be the cat's thing. I don't know. I mean, some
That's
cats
a
might
weird,
like getting
that's
their
a
tail
weird cat,
sucked,
not
you
a
know?
weird kid. Yeah.
I
Weird
mean,
cat.
kids will like stuck on weird things like in stuffed animals and stuff, but not. I had never heard a real animal. Well, in real life, I have yet to hear that.
There's probably a whole Facebook community we haven't even. Karan, look that up.
I have a cat. If you guys want to provide one of your children, we can run a test.
I fed my mom's cat the other day and it scratched me because I fed it. It's like I'm giving you food. I'm giving you life.
Sucking on its tail would have made it happy.
Suck on its tail.
No, I'm not getting that. My face is not getting anywhere near that cat.
There's like a certain, decorum that you need to follow, Dan.
Bean is in that room right now.
Nah, she's not in here.
You fucking liar.
She's asleep somewhere, not here.
In that room, I could see her tail.
Of course he's lying, because you would spend the next 5 minutes of the show trying to convince him to suck the tail.
Yes.
Yeah,
I would PayPal him money, yes.
And it's not going to work, Dan. This is an audio medium. No one will...
Oh, it's recording.
Hunter's is pretty descriptive.
Hunter is enticed to tell a story, only to be interrupted by her father-in-law. She zones out as he's asking Richie about the business. Hunter does focus on a glass of water and eats an ice cube very loudly. That breaks up the conversation between Richie and his father, and they kind of look at her.
I fucking loved it. I'm interrupted constantly in my family. They might be over there. I run into this all the time. So this was the one thing I could relate with her. And the chewing on the ice cube is I have now going to start incorporating that at family dinners because it was a nice little subtle fuck you, I thought.
It's a great moment.
Yeah, this ice is just totally awesome. And I think that gives you kind of a view of real Hunter, maybe. Like, that's how she would talk. And I don't know, it seems like her voice kind of changes when she says that. So.
Oh, yeah, she's using that, like, delicate feminine voice, and you're never supposed to have an emotion or care or upset anybody. I'm like, oh, man. I can't stand it. That part was hard to watch, like a woman acting this way. Because, yeah, it's so 1950s.
All right. One day, while home alone, Hunter develops the impulse to eat a marble. Hunter has a small box filled with random items. And Hunter is very happy after swallowing the marble that evening.
When I realized this is what the movie was going to be, I was like, God damn it. Like, this is... Because the marble was bad enough, right? Like,
I've swallowed a marble in real life, guys.
I think I swallowed a penny when I was like a little kid.
Bones, anything?
Did you make money on it, Kron? Did you shit out a nickel?
I wish, dude. I would have never stopped. If I kept going up in currency.
Mm-hmm.
I did something dumb when I was little.
All right.
I was waiting for the ice cream man, and I don't even know why I did this, but I put a quarter in my mouth and swallowed it, and then it was stuck, and then my mom had to take me to the emergency room to get it removed. I'm like 5, I don't know, real young. Yeah, so I did that. I was not trying to swallow it and challenge myself like Hunter seems to be doing. This is not funny. Fucked up thing. I went to this old psychiatric hospital in St. Joe, Missouri, which is like a museum now, of like the fucking horrific shit they did to people back then. They're still probably doing horrible things to people in those places, but there was an exhibit of this woman that was there a long time ago, and all of the stuff that they found in her stomach after she died, and it was tons of stuff like this, like hundreds of things, all put out on this table. It was crazy. So this is just a real thing.
Yeah.
It just stays there, though. I mean, I guess like the marble she could pass, but I guess eventually you just get too much of it in there, and it just hangs out in your gut forever.
Yeah. Well, maybe all this stuff was made of gum, and it just... Isn't that what they say?
10-year breakdown.
Yeah, it stays in your... That old wives' tale.
Well, you gotta pass the fucking watermelon that's grown in there first before you get to the gum.
Is that shit true? Like if you fucking swallow a pumpkin seed, you're gonna have
That's
like a
not true,
pumpkin
Dave.
patch
What are you
coming out of
talking
your
about?
ass.
Yes, it is.
No, it hits your stomach acid. How is it going to grow?
You guys want to see my Vine?
Some cartoon did this from in the 90s, and it's really I can't figure out what it is when you guys were saying this. Where one of them ate something and then it grew in their stomach. I don't know what the fuck it was.
All right,
Maybe
little bit.
Rugrats.
Little bitch Richie, he gets mad about his tie that Hunter ironed for him.
Oh.
Apparently it's silk.
On this specifically, like one of the things we haven't really, I think, script pretty concise. A lot of good payoffs in this because the night before the tie incident, they're laying in bed and she says, I did something really, I'm really proud of today. And you as the viewer, you're like, oh God, please don't admit to this already. And she kind of left turns and says that she's picked drapes or whatever, and they go back and forth. And he kind of blows it off, but he says, you couldn't do anything wrong. You could never do anything wrong, even if you try. And it's very satisfying that immediately the next scene he's laying in, literally the next morning, he's laying into her about ironing a tie.
Script-wise, not like...
I feel like even in that scene, though, even in that scene with the drape thing, though, he's like, oh, that's an unconventional choice. Like, he is still kind of like needling at her a little bit.
Yeah, he gets a little stab there.
I think they do a really good job at hinting that she is kind of faking all of this, that her tastes aren't this. This is what she thinks she's supposed to be doing. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, yeah, she is watching like an HGTV type of television show I think in the very beginning. It's kind of talking about, or no, maybe it's a food one. I can't remember.
They're all the same.
Food,
right?
House demolition.
Some goofy guy with his uptight wife, and they're going to change stuff.
We're going to put...
The fire department's going to come by for a fucking buffet because they helped out.
It's a barbecue, dude. Come on.
They'll stay for a beer.
Mm-hmm.
A Leinenkugel? Did I say that right? Thank you for sponsoring the show this week, Leinenkugel.
I think when you were talking, I talked about how like Richie kind of shows seeds of maybe not being all bad, which I think that's true about any human or character. But but with him, I think it's kind of like a trick. It's like he's always performing this like person he's supposed to be, and then it like trips up his real, like aggression comes out a lot, like when something like the tie wasn't right or the colors were weird. It's like he's trying to be nice, but then the real stuff bubbles out. Like it's just this facade of like just fake emptiness until like his real emotions come out, which are normally not very friendly.
Yeah.
Which in his defense, he came from like an abusive, shitty family, or like at least psychologically abusive.
Yeah, I think you kind of get that too later on whenever he finds out some information and he's like, I'm going to buy you something today. Like, what do you want? And she's just like, huh? All right, we're jumping ahead. All right. This argument about, not an argument, but scolding from little bitch Richie about the tie leads to Hunter beginning to consume more objects around the house. Jesus Christ.
You got it.
I fucking edit that shit out. Fuck. While vacuuming, she does find a thumbtack and can't help but swallow it. I like the little play here of how she spits it out and then kind of goes back to it because you're like, no, don't.
This is the craziest part in a way. I feel like there should be 6 things between marble and thumbtack that like we're on day 2 of this and we're really ratcheting up like where we're willing to go with it.
Yeah. I was like looking around. I was like, what is kind of in between a marble and a thumbtack? And I think a guitar pick might be my choice.
I landed on bottle cap. Could be between
plastic.
That could be painful though. Oh,
Or
okay.
like-
I went to the old school glass bottle cap with the edges.
Oh, I meant like a plastic one.
Mhm.
But I mean, I feel like if I had to choose, I think I'd rather give bottle cap a go than thumbtack.
I'm going quarter. Like, right?
Then you go to
Well, you're not
have
getting
your
any
mom
ice
take
cream.
you to the ER afterwards. I might have got ice cream after all of that.
I
can't
hope.
remember.
My parents, we can't afford it. You went to the ER.
Did you get like one of those turtles ice cream cones with the shitty gumball eyes?
I loved those. When I was little, I know all those fucking like character ones, but I liked the baseball glove. But I never wanted the gumball. Just take it off. Like I liked those popsicles though. What the hell is that even? Like the consistency of those are not normal.
Frozen gum. Like, who
Yeah,
wants that
it's
in
like
their
it's
life?
not a popsicle. It's not ice cream. What is it?
Mhm.
Like sherbet, kind of.
I used to always get those ones that it was just, I think it was just like, flavored ice. And then at the bottom would be a gumball. And every time I got to the gumball and I was like, man, this thing sucks. But I kept getting it. It's like you'd get to the gum and it's like, all right, finally I got to this gumball. And then it'd last, the flavor would be gone in 15 seconds.
It's not about what do they say? It's the journey, not the whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah, but the destination did suck when I got to it.
I ain't going there on vacation.
That was our first lesson in that as children.
I just always got that like patriotic rocket, the red, white, and blue. But I would
I was
ride
gonna
off
say.
into the
Pom-pom?
woods to eat it because I didn't want anybody else to watch. You get ripped on.
It's okay to eat
There's no way
a
you can.
popsicle.
No, because you're either you're taking it or you're trying to like eat it on the side and it's gonna fall off the stick, or then you're like licking. And it did have those grooves, which were real satisfying to get your tongue in that groove and go.
Real.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to put
Oh,
up
shit.
a parental advisory.
I mean,
on
that's
this
what I was
podcast.
doing.
Jesus.
Maybe okay. I'm seeing a
Keep
connection
talking,
now.
buddy. Keep talking.
Uh-huh.
All right, the next time all three of us are hanging out together, we'll just
We're
turn
buying
off the-
bomb pops,
we'll
bro.
turn off
We
the
should have
TV.
had
We'll all
bomb
just have a
pops ready for
popsicle
this
together.
Okay.
I mean,
I-
you're right. You can't eat a popsicle without looking sexual, mostly. I think.
I have a guy I work with. He worked for a roofing company for a long time, and he's like, this dude would cut up his bananas because he didn't want to get made fun of. I was like, it's a fucking. He's like, yeah, that's just. He's like, he went to prison and shit. I was like, oh, okay, well, that's a different story now. But I was like, I'm not stopping my banana to cut it up. Come on, cut a banana. What are we living in? Russia? If you do Russia, I don't care.
They don't have bananas over there.
Yeah.
You don't think they have bananas in Russia?
Oh, they only have.
They're probably
red,
like
they only have
80,
red food.
80 rubles.
Yeah.
Is it rubles in Russia?
Well, maybe like once a year they get bananas.
July.
Yeah. But I don't
It's
think they-
80. It's 82 degrees.
Once a year, and that line is miles long.
Yeah.
All right, this does not go down as smooth as the marble for Hunter here. She does, I believe she throws the push pin up later that evening. Richie, I don't know why I call it Ricky. She does hide it from him as he has some buddies over from work, I guess. Not sure why one of them's jumping in the pool in his underwear. Maybe they're just jackassing around or something.
Yeah. Pool's right there, dude.
Isn't that a really creepy one who's like, I just need a hug. But then that moment is awesome.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah, that guy is.
I like it. Yeah, I like how she gets through that. She's just like, okay.
First she's like, I don't know. But then once they hug, it's like, for her, it's like she needed that hug just as
Mhm.
much or more than he
Mhm.
did. He's probably just being creepy, but she could actually use a hug.
So, Jill, a few episodes ago, we covered The Swimmer, and I proposed, is it time for us to start hugging again? jokingly said, like, is it time for men to start hugging other men's wives again? Right? We used to do like the kiss on the cheek and I was like, and I raised the question, and I was immediately answered by no, we should not, because this absolutely creeped the hell out of me.
I haven't seen The Swimmer, so I don't know
Okay.
what happened there. But
It's just
at some point, did people stop hugging other people's wives?
it was just
I mean, the Swimmer's from like the late 60s, and it is very much, it's like these rich people that they just all hug and kiss when they meet and everything. I feel like it's not presented as like that weird in the movie. So
no.
68.
Yeah. It's not.
They're also rich though.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe rich people hug and kiss each other.
I thought they just did this thing. The little limp hand.
Well, that's monarchy.
Okay.
like a side hug.
Oh, I hate a fucking side hug.
From your wife?
I'd rather eat a bomb pop in front of my friends than get a side hug.
Dude, if your wife is side hugging you, you're
in
the
trouble,
fast track
bro.
to divorce.
Big D, and I ain't talking Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
All right, overtime. Overtime, Hunter swallows metal figurines, batteries, a lock, a chess piece, a key.
You can't swallow a battery. I'm just
Conrad,
gonna say
we'll get to that PSA later. Shut up.
You can't swallow batteries.
You got to recharge, man.
I gotta
They'll
recharge,
like
baby.
burn through your stomach.
Not if they don't
That's
crack,
when
baby.
Richie was really worried about her just because of the battery.
Mm-hmm.
Did you
He's
see
like,
that
you could really die.
Did you see that figurine on the very end? It's like that fucking big. I'm like, how the hell?
I think the lock is the most impressive.
And the jack, because I don't know where the fuck she got a jack at. Like,
Why do they have
Where-
like jacks and shit in the house?
I was like, it's 2019. Where'd you get a jack?
She had the Instagram-able trinket box, right? Or those like little
I
toys from her life? Like, are those things that?
Oh, okay.
Maybe
yeah. Those
she
are from her
had
childhood.
Yeah.
I got you. I did pause this part, and there are 12 items on that tray. So when Hunter does swallow something and it comes out, she does wash it and put it in on a tray as a display for herself, I guess. I think we kind of already covered pick an item to swallow. Is anybody going to dig through their own shit to find the stuff, or are you just going to flush it?
You kind of got to make sure it comes out. I guess if you're willing to like swallow stuff, that kind of comes along with the territory, I think.
Well, that's what I was wondering, if that's part of the pica, maybe.
I
guess it's
wonder
like-
if it's like a kind of ritualistic for her that she has to complete this
Cycle.
whole thing and then display it. But then I was also questioning, is this also like a form of self-harm or related to that kind of thing when someone does something like that? Maybe not, she's not like consciously doing it thinking I want to harm myself, but I feel like it's a similar thing, like it's a similar cry for like help or attention. I don't ever think cry for helps are like conscious from the person that's doing it. But I was just like, yeah, right, questioning these things to myself. I'm like, is this self-harm? Is it like a challenge? It's so many things. I don't know what I think.
I think it could be all rolled into one, yeah. Because she seems like she wants to have the item, so I don't know. It's kind of like, I guess if you get shot, you want to keep the bullet, right?
Well, that you're going to tell people. This, she's...
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, it's a call and response in a way, right? Like they talk a lot about in relationships, you're driving around and somebody says, hey, look at that thing. Or your wife brings something up and that is their ante, right? They're starting a conversation. They want to engage and they want something back. She's not
that's when
getting
you turn the music up, dude.
Yeah, for sure.
Don't do that. That was a mean joke.
Yeah, but she doesn't get anything back. She antes up throughout, right? She's constantly asking about flowers and doing whatever and being blown off. She is taking it in and getting, Like there is a ritualistic process to it. So,
so the displayed. Go ahead, Jill.
It reminds me of self-harm in that way too, though, that it's connected to like a feeling of control, no matter how, whatever that thing is, which I think that's connected to harming like that. Yeah, it's really interesting. Sorry.
no, control is massive because she has little exterior control. Psychologically, she's like, what's the last thing that she can control? Like this pathway from her mouth to exit might be it.
Well, I'm sure walking in and seeing her items on the tray also gives her maybe a calmness in the situation that she's in, maybe. Yeah.
Probably far more calm than she is when she's got the big green gloves on and rooting through lamb.
We don't know what she had. Bones, come on. Hunter becomes pregnant. We already covered that. She's pregnant. So at a...
Did you go back 8 pages?
5, Dan.
Jesus Christ.
All right, guys. Relax. Shh. I'm the host. All right. She goes to a sonogram, and a technician does notice something very weird in her abdomen during the routine. She is rushed into emergency surgery to remove a variety of items trapped inside her intestine.
I did think a cool alternate poster for this could be like, you know, that sonogram shape, that not quite a triangle, like that sonar sort of look. And you had like some little pieces in that, maybe like a marble or a block. I don't know why I thought that. I was like, the imagery of that I think would be terrifying.
Wasn't that a alt poster for Jackass 1?
Oh, he had the car up his ass?
Yeah.
I can't get away from that. Maybe it's so subconsciously inside of me.
I think it seeped in, dude.
Yeah.
Well, that weekend was weird because Kron's like, we're going to reenact everything that happened in Jackass 1. Mm-hmm. That was rough.
Yeah. I handed you your car.
Yeah, you showed up to the event with the car already installed.
We're going backwards, dudes. We're starting at the end and moving forward.
I pulled that short straw there. All right. Hunter is diagnosed with pica, which is the disorder, a psychological disorder where individuals do swallow items. So I didn't do a whole bunch of research on pica, so if you're familiar with it, don't at me, I guess. But it is a psychological disorder. Did anybody else look it up?
I have not.
We're a terrible podcast.
I was already disturbed by what I saw in this movie, so I wasn't going to go deep dive into...
I will say I did a little bit. I knew the term, or I learned the term, brought it up to my wife this week when she asked what the movie was about. I said the term, and she knew it. She was like, oh, I'm aware of that. So I hope that's not
I think this was kind of a TLC show of
yeah, they did make that show. Like,
where people eat
weird things.
Yeah, there was a person that drank gasoline and shit. And
I feel like those shows are so like they feel so exploited. They don't feel like they care about these people at all. I hate that feeling of all those like the what people who hoarders, like all those kind of shows just feel like mean spirited ultimately. But yeah, they did have that show.
Is that like My Strange Addiction?
Yeah, something like that.
Because there was that lady that would eat her drywall.
Yeah.
I mean, just get a dog.
We used to make things in this country, man. What the hell?
I'm really curious about reading about this because I wonder. In this film, I wonder. I'm not a psychologist, but I put to my own theory that she was running from, we learn later, her horrific past, and I feel like she thought, being part of this family that seems very normal and picture perfect was going to be like something that would fix this pain she's carried her whole life. And when she realizes that doesn't fix it, then she turns to these extreme things. And then I just, yeah, I was just really interested about what brought her here. But we'll wait till we get to that. But her backstory and what she does about it is incredible.
All right, Richie's parents, they freak out, Catherine and Michael, and they arrange for her to see a psychiatrist in the city. During her therapy sessions, Hunter says she swallows the objects because she likes the feel and the texture in her mouth. Richie's mom, God, thinks she can fix Hunter by changing her diet. Just, some kale and carrots, fix that right up for you.
You got to get your iron and shit. Yeah.
I think the grossest part of me is the camera going into the stomach, which the director said he was willing to do himself, but they were able to find footage, so he didn't have to do it. But he was willing to, if need be. I was like, right on, dude. It's a passion project, right?
I feel like as soon as they stick that little thing in the back of your throat, though, you're like, no, never mind. This is worse than I thought.
Yeah, I think that's the push pin's bad. The Marlboro, I wasn't such Now my wife was like, oh my God. But yeah, I think that was the worst for me. And maybe the dirt, because
laying under that dusty bed, that was pretty gross.
I think Bones made me eat potting soil once at a party. Yeah. It was bad. It was real bad.
What did he sit on your chest and?
No, it was a
drunken game of truth or dare.
It was it truth or dare?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it escalated. It got bad.
It escalated real bad.
Yeah.
Why didn't you go with truth, dude?
I mean, I just got out of jail for that shit. That's a lie. That's a joke. Welcome back, everybody, to 5 Day Rentals. We're here with the director of The Stylist, Jill Gevargizian. Did I say it right?
Very, very close. Gevargizian.
Gevargizian. I said it wrong still. I tried. I did a lot of research.
Easy. I keep saying it. Maybe I'll do it actually. That I've uploaded a video of me just saying it on YouTube. So when anyone looks it up, they can look for mine, maybe.
But we are here with her. She is the director of the wonderful movie The Stylist, which, like I said, go out, check it out, buy it, stream it. It's a fantabulous movie. I had one question. I'm a big fan of Maniac. What was the inspiration level with Maniac? Was it high?
It weirdly was low. It became a bigger inspiration after we already had the idea. Somehow I didn't see Maniac growing up, when I was watching a lot of stuff preteen, teenage, first kind of introducing myself to horror. This is embarrassing. I saw the remake first at a film festival, and the director of the original spoke after or before. I can't remember, but I just remember being I was very into how blunt he was. He's like, I don't even know why you guys have me here. I didn't make this movie. So what? I'm not the director of this remake. But it made me finally watch the original. I like both a lot. But originally it started as kind of like a Leatherface, mostly an inspiration of Leatherface, and a lot of May ended up influencing it a lot. But I looked at her as a female Leatherface, and the wearing of the hair akin to wearing of of the skin and kind of how she would emulate that person, the way he kind of changes characters per mask. But then, yeah, once I finally saw Maniac and then thought of it more, I'm like, well, of course, this will be the one people think of because he's the only other big scalper that we know, I think, in cinema. But I love how Maniac is also from the bad person's perspective, and you get to know, even in the original, I think he's still super sympathetic while being really disgusting and scary. I like sad, sympathetic, scary people. I like really layered characters like that where you're not sure how to feel about them. Like you like them and they're wrong all at the same time. But yeah, there's my long answer about Maniac. And then we made my friend Lou Risconi, an artist, he made like an homage poster for the Stylist that's just like the complete Maniac cover where she's holding like a scalp at her
like in the door.
And, yeah.
Oh, that's
like,
awesome.
You know, his the poster that's just like his crotch down with the scalp in his hand.
Oh, that's awesome. Now you do hair as well in real life. Yes. Has anybody came in and been like, yeah, I don't think so, lady. Like, I've seen the movie.
That's kind of the question I wanted to ask, but I was like, I don't know if that, like, should I say that?
No, I mean, I don't think they would come all the way there to say that. I would be so stoked if someone came in just to be like, I'm never getting my hair cut again because of you. But I have told, like, a lot of my clients I've had for so long that I tell them about my journey as I've been going. But newer clients that I'll tell, like, I've made a movie and I'm like slowly revealing what it is. I'm like, it's called The Stylist. It's about a hairstylist that kills. That's like my short pitch while I'm cutting their hair. And they're like, okay. Some of the reactions are great. And they're not all like, a lot of my clients are people who watch horror movies, but some of them are normies. And I can tell they're a little worried, maybe. But then people who have seen it, I like to like joke and be like, you're the last one here. There's like everyone has left. See, it's just like the movie. Like this, I wrote this scene because this happens all the time. And like the dialogue from her is taken right out of my life. Her dog is my dog. So there's lots of scary, similar. It really is me aside from the killing. And maybe I'm not that as crazy as she is. She's the extreme version of me who also kills people.
Well, it's a wonderful movie, and I said I enjoy it.
The lady who cuts my hair, I often talk to her about horror movies, and I of course want to recommend it, but then I'm also like, I don't want to give her the idea either to.
No, please tell her.
Cut my head off.
That's like my biggest dream and mission is for every hairstylist to at least know this exists and hopefully watch it, I know some people just don't like horror movies, but I feel like they'll appreciate the things I put in there, that they'll know like a hairstylist must have actually made this, not just like, you'll see a lot of professions in movies and you can't do them exactly. I couldn't do this one perfectly because I was like, we're not going to film every tiny step of how you color someone's hair. But little details like that did matter to me because I'm like, you watch movies and they'll always make someone a photographer and they're like clicking as they move, like they don't even keep their camera still, like things like that. That's part of why I wanted to do it. I was like, well, I can do it right, whatever that means.
Well, I'll absolutely tell my stylist to watch this movie.
They're like, man, these girls don't even have split ends. Shit. She's good. That's my terrible hair joke for the night. Well, Jill, once again, thank you for giving us your time. We need to roll. Richie hires Luea? I can't pronounce his name. He's pretty much a bodyguard. He has a family friend and an immigrant from Syria who's been through war. What he's going to do is he's going to monitor Hunter as Richie is away at work so she doesn't swallow anything. She's not happy, but she agrees. She does feel a little smothered with the bodyguard there, and is hostile towards him. He dismisses her with a mental illness as a result of her privileged life. Hunter does get patted down every time she has to go to the bathroom. She passes the pat down, and we see her in the bathroom. She pulls out a stash of objects under the toilet, which she swallows.
I think it's Louis or something, because she says Louis or Lewis, and he corrects her.
Yeah.
But then it feels like what Richie says is almost exactly what she said, but he doesn't correct Richie. And I think Richie says that he worked for the family before.
Used to take care of grandmama.
I thought he said Meemaw or
Oh,
something.
did he?
And I was
something
like,
like
this
that.
fucking guy says Meemaw. That's like, I don't know.
You didn't have a Mima?
No, that's like guys who call their husband mother and shit. Meemaw is fucking creepy.
Guys who call their
husband's mother?
Did I say husbands? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
They can do that if they want.
Sure.
Yeah.
Mother? That's a little...
But was
That's
it
a weird one, bro.
doesn't Mike Pence, doesn't he refer to his wife as mother?
Yes.
Okay.
Mother.
We're not going to
Straight
win
up.
this one,
It's not
mother.
like a like a fetishy thing, like mom, like daddy, mommy. I don't know if that's
I
a
don't.
thing.
I think it kind of
Mommy really isn't
though,
a
for
thing
the-
like daddy though. It's not the same.
Yeah, it's
Maybe
a
it
little
is.
weird.
Maybe it is.
I think
think it is for
daddy's
the-
fucking weird too, though.
I think it's like that for the Pences. I think they're
Oh.
into that shit.
Oh, mother. That'd be the...
That's like you're saying it in a totally different, much scarier way. It's sounding more like a Norman Bates mother situation, you know.
Get that mic.
Which is the vibe I get from Richie as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could see that. Mommy. All right. Hunter finds out at Richie's birthday party that he's pretty much told everybody he knows about what she's going through with the pica, and she is very upset about this. She does confront him outside during the party. One of the guests at the party does mention it to Hunter as she's kind of serving dishes and stuff like that at the party. She does confront him. Can you please not ruin my birthday? And he kind of just walks off, pretty much ignoring her. Huge dick move. Dudes, don't ever say that.
Yeah.
Don't ruin my birthday with your thoughts and feelings and just like generally being a human being.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's horrible.
And also the hugger is going around asking.
Oh yeah, that was
for
great when
random
she
hugs.
sees him ask someone else. Then you realize like, oh, he's just some weird.
This is
He's
fucking
trying to
creepo.
creep on chicks. Like,
I need a hug.
A hug is like swallowing a marble, but on the outside.
Who has
I
anybody
don't know.
No.
ever asked for a hug?
What?
I don't know.
They
I
should.
just need a hug.
We are a hug deprived society. Do you read all those like nerdy quote things about what they say hugs do for people? I believe that none of us are hugging each other. We shouldn't be like that guy. The way he's doing it is a bit weird.
I feel like I am going to get shot if I go in for a hug on somebody. Maybe that's just the problem here.
I don't think she's suggesting that we hug everybody. I think it's
Don't just walk up to a complete
yeah.
stranger and hug them. That will be some form of assault, I'm sure.
That's how me and Kron met. I mean,
Yeah. We probably hugged. I mean, in high school, we probably hugged.
well, you were both walking to the same guy to hug him,
and realized
and he ducked.
we wanted to
and
hug
you
each
guys
other.
Bumped into each other. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we hugged each other, and then the rest is history.
This is perfect.
I love you, dude.
I love you too, buddy.
All right.
There's a really whole storyline with this hugging guy. Like, does he think it comes off genuine, but he's really like super manipulative and hopes it will lead to something with certain people.
Yeah, I guess
something else.
I guess if it had just been the one scene, because it makes me think like, oh, he's got his own backstory. If he's just like walking into the house being like, I really need a hug right now. But then, yeah, it's like if you go to the party and he's hugging everyone there, it's like, oh, this dude's just like a serial hugger here. I mean,
Yeah. Well, and he says, I'm not drunk enough to ask for a kiss.
Yeah.
As well. Like,
yeah, he's got some psycho shit going on with that. There's something subtly very scary about it.
mm-hmm.
Well, did the Richie and his buddies know, like, oh, that's Tom. He's going to try the fucking hug tonight. Like, never works. And then, of course, Richie gets mad when he finds out that Hunter hugged him.
I'm thinking
that's what I was worried about in that scene. The tension of like, oh God, is he going to do something crazy because she hugged this guy?
We need a hugger prequel, I think.
Seems like we have a director on the show tonight that might be able to do that.
Mm-hmm. Whole cinematic universe.
Yeah.
We'll produce.
I was on a panel with this director at Chattanooga it was virtual. Was it 21? And I just felt like super intimidated and like I was not on the league to be on a panel with this guy. But maybe since I barely know him, I can reach out about this hugger idea is the point of the story. We can ask him. You guys need to bring him on and be like, we really need to know the backstory of this guy.
I have an idea for a sequel to Swallow, so maybe the hugger can carry through.
This is going to be a trilogy, it sounds like. Shit.
Okay.
Get our ducks in rows. Let's do this. In therapy, Hunter reveals she was not raised by her biological father, and she has never met him, though she knows his name and keeps a picture of him. She was conceived as a result of her mother's rape at the hands of a strange man she met at a bar that night. The rapist did serve time for this crime. PSA Hunter, in the words of Kid Rock and Sheryl Crow, throw that picture away, please. Worst one of the night?
That's horrible. This is such a fucking horrible backstory.
Well, the way that she goes in,
like to grow up as knowing you were the result of something so horrible.
Yeah.
I don't know. She almost plays it off like it's just oh, and by the way, fact kind of, you know. I don't know. And even the therapist, like when she produces the picture, she's like, "You keep a picture of him?" So I don't. That's, to me, that's a weird moment in this movie of her character. I think that shows I mean,
the first time I watched it, I was kind of like, does the director, the person making this movie, not like this character? Because it is just like bad thing after bad thing, and then that's all followed by a worse thing that, I mean, it's just like relentless on this lady, you know? And like, I don't know, I feel like at a certain point you gotta give her something, you know? And it's like bad all the time for this lady. It's kind of a bummer.
To be fair, I feel like this film is about her ultimately freeing herself from all of this. So we do get that.
When you get to the end, there's like some relief, but yeah, it's like by the time you get here, I was like, man, it's already tough for this lady.
I feel like though here is when we come on of like, oh, like what got her to this point. like why she ended up in this family. Like this is the inciting thing in her that she's avoided her whole life and why all this is happening. Yeah, I feel like the way that she reacts tells her psychologist is like a defense mechanism. Like she's not ready to even admit how fucked up it is out loud. With the way that she says it.
I think there is some comfort there with her psychiatrist as well of, oh, I can talk to this lady. And so her telling the story is, I think, a step of Hunter trusting like, oh, I can talk to somebody now.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's also a testament to the performance here. It might have been a little earlier, but definitely at this point, there's some childlike delivery in her nature that continues on. It's like bigger eyes, softer. It even feels like the language is choppier. Like, don't get mad. It's not a big deal. It's like a kid trying to blow it off. And then especially later when she's pleading to not go to the facility, that is very childlike. Please, it's not a big deal. It wasn't a big deal. And so the facade of like the 50s wife expectation starts to slip, and the child comes back, like literally comes out as soon as she pulls out that picture, which I think is, to me, very noticeable.
Mm-hmm.
We're kidding.
And the idea of her carrying that picture is super disturbing, but I think no one could comprehend what that would, I don't know, feel like, or you would still feel some kind of connection to this horrible person that's technically your father. Yeah, it's a dark thing, which, as you're about to talk through further into the movie, I love that she confronts him. I think that's incredible.
I think closure is on her mind.
Scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, she needs some closure, I believe. Look at that, he's drinking a Modelo. All right, one afternoon while Hunter is gardening, she overhears Richie speaking with her psychiatrist on the phone and realizes Richie has bribed the doctor to tell him what they have what she has discussed with Hunter in the therapy sessions. We get a great scene here where she is gardening with the soil and the dirt, and she kind of lifts it up and looks at it and then kind of pushes it, lets it fall back into the pot, which I think is really nice.
This guy shaves before he goes to the gym. Man, that is... that tells you everything you need to know about this dude.
He's just... If you shave before you go to the gym, you're an asshole?
Yeah. Why you gotta look good at the gym? The whole point
you're at the
of the
gym
is...
baby.
No, dude, I look my worst. The absolute worst I'll ever look is at the gym.
Yeah, 100%.
Are you did you just get back from the gym?
I went to the gym earlier today. Yeah.
Burn.
Yeah.
Your face, Kron.
Hey, I always got a shower in before this. It could have been even...
Did you shave before or after?
I didn't shave today at all.
Oh, hardcore.
Psychopath. I haven't shaved in like 4 days. 5. I don't fucking
Doesn't
know.
matter.
Doesn't matter. All right. Hearing this news, this sends Hunter into a panic. The bodyguard here, she does climb under a bed in the panic to kind of calm herself down. The bodyguard does show some emotion towards her and feels sorry for her. He kind of lays with her under there. They fall asleep. She wakes up before him. She goes through the house, still panicked, and finds a miniature screwdriver and swallows it. The bodyguard here, he does find her choking violently and calls 911. After undergoing surgery to remove the screwdriver, Michael and Catherine, Richie's parents, arranged to have Hunter committed to a psychiatric hospital for the next 7 months until she delivers the baby.
Big takeaway in this scene is the father is the one that threatens the divorce. Richie doesn't say it. The father's the one that says, "Oh, she doesn't agree to this. Richie wants a divorce," which is like the most ultimate. He can't take care of his own shit thing from the father so far.
I mean, he bought him the house too. I mean, shit. So this is the ultimate, like, my daddy will... Do you know who my daddy is? Like, those type of dudes.
Yeah. And he's like the... Not to sympathize with our bad Richie too much, but like, he's completely then like his prisoner in a sense. Like he has to do everything according to him, or he will lose his house, lose his job, literally have nothing if he's not living his life in accordance to mom and dad's rules. So it's like he's like a child forever because of that.
No, Mom, I'm almost done. I told you we had a guest tonight. Okay.
You should call her mother, though.
I'm sorry, Mother.
I thought you were going to yell Mom, lasagna. Or is that what Will Ferrell says in that movie?
Meatloaf. Mom, meatloaf. Fuck.
All right. Richie's dad does threaten a divorce. The bodyguard, he has warmed to Hunter at this point and allows her to flee into the woods and stages it to appear as though she has escaped. Hunter does hitchhike.
I would have taken it a step further. I'd have like poured some ketchup on my head and like laid down.
It's not even left.
Like, oh, she fucking knocked me out,
Yeah.
I do like that we had this guy. This was like the one guy on her side. I think probably because he knew this, he has seen this family for so long and knows how fucked up they are. Like, he looked after Meemaw.
Yeah, you'll be better out there on your own than...
Meemaw always wanted to be free.
Yeah. Is there something with them laying together underneath the bed, which is like he says, I fled because of war? Like, is that something that he connects with? Maybe having to hide from bombardment as a kid or when he was younger, and like there was a proximity to that maybe he sort of connected with, like she's got all these opportunities where if it wasn't something that was deep that she, I think he realizes like, oh, this isn't something she could just turn off. This isn't just attention. There's something here, and am I making it worse by acting as their implement, which is the opposite of what Richie does. Like he's just the implement of his family.
I could see that. I think the second time I watched, the first time I watched, I was like, I think I want a little bit more from that relationship between Hunter and the bodyguard. But I think the second time, just like the hand on the shoulder, and I was like, all right, I think that's enough to where, based off his character, he's not going to be like trying to, hey, can I get a hug? So,
yeah,
I think
he's
it
very
works.
stoic. So for him to show that emotion is like it's very big and like profound feeling when he just puts his hand on her shoulder.
Yeah. Well, and you can be masculine but still caring, right? You can be.
He also comes from Syria, so I'm sure they're not respecting of the ladies like we do in America. So, yeah.
The thoughts of Laundry Dan do not reflect the thoughts of 5 Day Rentals as a whole.
You've never been to Syria like I have, dude. Remember that George...
Syria.
You've never been to Syria either, Kron?
Were you about to say that George Clooney movie? That was Syriana, by the way.
Yeah, it was literally named after it. That was me.
Okay.
I never watched it.
It's a bore.
It seemed like it. Really did. All right, Hunter hitchhikes to a motel and calls Richie, and Richie calls her. Sorry. He begs for her return. She explains she had rushed into things with the marriage and the pregnancy, and she's just not happy. Of course, he interrupts her because he wants to talk, because it's just his character here. And he says...
Running out of minutes, dude.
Goddamn Boost Mobile.
Yeah, your Mint Mobile's running out.
He interrupts her and gives her reasons on why that gives her reasons why she needs to come back. She refuses. He chastises her and insults her. Hunter smashes her cell phone and spends the rest of the night watching television and eating soil dirt that she collected outside before she got to the hotel.
Cake? We think it's cake?
No, I thought it was dirt the way the movie presented it.
Come on.
I was going to go with chewing tobacco.
Hardcore.
Yeah, isn't it interesting how the eating of the dirt is more disturbing than all the sharp things? Because we don't like see her eat it. We more just see the aftermath of those other things. But the dirt is like, but yeah, that could easily this is a chocolate cake smashed up.
Just loving it.
It's delicious, probably.
They're like, stop eating all the dirt.
We have to, we're running out of dirt for this scene.
Maybe she was like, no, I got a better take in me.
Two more.
Bring in more of those crushed up.
On Black Mold, the set decorator, she when we'd have to make rooms look more dusty and shit, they would sprinkle this shit all over the place. That was a mix of cocoa and coffee and God knows what else. It's all like edible, but it looks like so. I know they have all these weird things they come up with, which I think is what's so amazing about that. That whole side of filmmaking, it's like the things they think of to use that looks like something else. I'm just like, what? It's incredible.
So the black mold smelled great on set?
Yeah, so it wasn't so bad, but we were in some actually old buildings that were fucked up, then adding our own fake dirt to make it more fucked up looking.
Gosh. I'm going to have so many thoughts when I watch Black Mold finally. Yeah, well, it smelled great in there. That's what Jill said.
Yeah, you should stand up in the theater and announce that.
That's what Jill said.
My dog will just look at me like, what?
Taking your dog into the theater?
She watches movies with me,
Okay,
the dog,
cool.
yeah. Sometimes. I gave her weed last night. Didn't really help too much. I don't think.
Yeah, but you just went and got it out of your, by the sidewalk, right?
Oh, we shared. You know. Fucker takes away. All right, the next day she calls her mom and gets angry when she says her sister's there with her new baby. But pretty much Hunter's just saying, I got to come home. I need to talk to you. Some shit's been going down. And her mom's like, well, that's fine, but your sister's here with her new baby, and Hunter does not want anything to do with that.
Well, she also says, I'm sorry, there's just not enough room. She denies
she's straight
her.
up your sister's here, so there's no room for you.
Yeah.
There's always room for family, okay?
That's what mom should have said.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which Hunter, I'm sure, already felt like the outcast because mom went on and married someone else and had babies with them. And so she's the child from this horrible situation, not part of that family in the same way.
Yeah, I could see that.
I don't think that's an opinion. I think that's that's a fact of the movie, Dan. That's not an interpretation.
Let me elaborate.
Okay.
Is that brought up in their conversations, though? Would Hunter bring that up, or would the mother be like, well, you're my daughter, but, you're like the other daughter?
She must have brought something up.
Oh, no.
Because she would have never needed to even admit that to her.
Yeah,
her mother chose to tell her this.
That's true. Because she went and found the picture of the guy.
Her mother was putting that weight onto her. She could have kept that a secret forever, and it not that's her inherited problem from her mother, right?
I could see that. Why would she go to the extremes to find a picture and follow along with it, I guess?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think at some point you'd be just curious where you came from, though. Like, if you never knew your father, you'd eventually ask that question. And I guess it's the mother's decision at that point to be honest or not. But still, I mean, I think, like, that would just be a question that would come up. You know what I mean?
All right, Jill. Hunter hitchhikes.
Now I'm the one in this movie.
Hunter hitchhikes to the home of her biological father, William Irwin. William and his wife, Lucy, they're having a birthday party. I think it's for her daughter, or is it for William? I'm not sure. Doesn't matter. But they assume Hunter is one of the parents of the children that is attending the party. But she privately reveals her true identity to William, and he kind of freaks out a little bit. Like, he gets his wife to where he can talk to Hunter privately and ask, "Are you here to ruin my life?" And Hunter kind of just dishes out the questions during a very emotional conversation, which I will say these two acting together is a great scene. William professes he has a lot of shame for what happened to Hunter's mother, and Hunter asks him if he is ashamed of her and whether she is like him, which he denies. He's like, "No, you're not."
This scene could have gone so many different ways, and it almost made me feel worse, him getting so close and basically saying, "It's not your fault. It's nothing you did." Like, just like we talked about with the phone call with the mother and what we're supposed to infer with the information that she shared, that was brutal. I think it almost would have been easier to watch if he was just like, "Don't fuck up my life. Get the fuck out of here." But him having some humanity and weirdly some father connection to her is crushing.
Such a beautiful scene. It's so, for a film that's like so like hyper stylish, most of the film, although like all the performances are pretty raw, but that scene is so incredible. And yes, almost so brave to even like write it and then perform it and the whole thing. Like, I was just trying to look up that guy's name who plays the father. I can't think of his name. He's in so much stuff, but
I can do
it
that.
was so perfect. And the way that she reveals who she is in front of the wife without her wife being able to figure out what that means. And like the panic rising in him, trying to get her out of there to have this conversation. Like when I was rewatching that part, I just wrote like when she confronts her biological dad, wow, with all these like dots in between. I mean, it's so powerful. It's such an incredible scene. It's insane.
Dennis O'Hare is the actor.
Yes.
Yeah, that was all the first take there.
The way that he like is able to tell her it's not her fault and give her that is so beautiful. It's great. It takes this film from being, it's interesting that this film really, like, the basic concept is simple, which I feel like we should all learn from that. Like, it doesn't take some complicated, crazy idea to make an awesome movie. That scene just blows me away. Like, that scene makes this whole movie like an incredible movie.
We've talked a lot this episode, like we've all made these hand gestures of like, the pacing in the story on a graph, what we think it does. To have this, like Kron, like you were saying, it just like it keeps building up, right? Marble, thumbtack, keeps going up, screwdriver. And I'm going into this and she's about to confront her father. I'm just going to assume, oh, we're going way high now. They were just they were prepping you for an incredibly cringe 10-minute ending that was just going to be brutal. And the fact that you're able to flip that and it now become positive and the end of this be so cathartic is incredible. I think that's just a real testament to, like you said, the bravery to write that thing, particularly that character saying that, but the genius stroke of knowing when to time that to give you your relief on that it was the scene I was looking forward to the most on the second rewatch. Like, I was so stoked to get to it because, like you were saying, Kron, I felt so bad for her.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of movies, and especially on this show, we want to do the rewatch so we know what we're talking about. This was so comforting. It's like I knew what I'm going to get through because I'm going to be comfortable at the end, thankfully.
Yeah. Yeah, this is kind of, well, I mean, the scene is like very tough to get through itself, but then after this, you do get kind of like a roll off. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess just even her asking, like, am I like you is such a powerful part of the movie because, I mean, I guess she, you know, like she knows that what she's doing is not normal behavior, but still it's like the only person that she can ask about this is this other person that's done like a terrible, terrible thing, you know? And I guess for that guy to say like, no, like you're not the same way as I am, you know, it's like finally like a breath in the film, you know, like a separation from all the terrible stuff we've been seeing up to this point.
I didn't think about how powerful that quote again, like when you bring it up again, when she asks, am I like you? Like we didn't really consider until then that not only the pain of knowing that you came from the situation, but wondering, honestly, yeah, if the parts of you that you didn't like were, you would wonder, like, if you were like this person or you carried something about them or the bad part of them, or it's such an interesting thing because it's like there's tons of films that deal with rape, or there's, you know, the whole rape revenge subgenre in horror, and this film is ultimately about that, but it's not a film that's like about that, if that makes sense. Like it's, yeah, that scene is incredible. I think I'm giving this movie 5 stars. Oh wait, I'm not supposed to give it away. You guys are. I posted it on Instagram and blew it, but I'm like about to go on my Letterboxd and change it right now. I'm like, it's fucking pretty incredible, honestly. That ending. I also love when a film will like take me on this ride and then like rock me like that emotionally near the end. The Good Time is one I can think of that makes me think of it. The one with Robert Pattinson by the
Hell yeah.
Safdie brothers.
Yeah, me and Dan are big fans of that movie.
You're in good company.
But yeah, I love a movie that has also, it's like the courage to do something like that for this like ultimate release is awesome. I could rant about that forever.
All right. Having obtained closure, Hunter does visit a clinic and is prescribed a medication to induce an abortion. She takes the pills while eating a lunch in a food court and experiences the abortion in a public restroom. She does look at herself in the mirror at the very end, and she seems satisfied. I think her story is a chapter closed and ready to move on. End credits for Swallow from 2019. Directed by Carlo Marabella Davis.
I really appreciated how that bathroom scene continued, as to say, like, this is not to diminish her story, but to say, like, this is just one person. And look at all, like, of all these people,
girls.
like, okay, it says a lot of things. It says like we don't know what people are going through around. I was like that scene continuing on after she left, I feel like was really powerful.
There's a lot of things going on between those stalls. More than just onesies and twosies. Not in a mean way. But yeah, I think that's why, because I kind of noticed that too, that he kind of sat on everybody coming in and out and doing their thing too, which I thought I liked. All right, guys. Upon further research,
last thing I wanted to say.
Oh, go ahead, Bones.
The costume design, the way she's now wearing her hair and the sweatshirt that she is wearing, it seems like that is the most real her. She looks comfortable. She has actual life to her. She looks like a real person.
Mhm.
It's very subtle because it's really just her sitting there eating at the food court, and then the scene of her in the bathroom. So you don't see much of it, but just that decision. Whoever chose her clothes on that, I think,
Yeah, it's
deserves
like
every
the
props
location and her clothes all represent her from being like in this trapped environment where everything's like perfect and pristine and fake, and then seeing her in the real world, like looking like a real person with
Mhm.
real people around her. Um, yeah, I love those kind of details.
All right, gentlemen, upon further research, and ladies, upon further research, this was released March 6th, 2020, in a limited. So this did get mixed in with right before COVID, right before everything shut down. So that's, I think, why I couldn't find a budget, but I think the box office was just over $274K for it, is what they've reported. But did get swept up with COVID. At the cinema that week, you could also catch First Cow, Onward. I believe that was one of Pixar's movies. The Way Back with Ben Affleck. All right. The film was inspired by the director's grandmother, who had a obsessive compulsive disorder. She was a compulsive hand washer and had many rituals. He did explain that she was part of a bad marriage and that her husband did send her to electroshock therapy at a mental institution, which did cause a lot of problems for her. Shot in 20 days. Master Prime lenses were used to capture the texture, because I guess that's a big focus when dealing with Pica, that when she says, I like the texture in my mouth and stuff like that.
20 days?
20 days. That's it.
Impressive.
And that's all I got. Like I said, not a lot out there for Swallow from 2019. But yeah, are we ready? Are we ready to find out? Rate my box.
Take me up inside.
Current average letterbox rating is a 3.4.
Yep.
Dan, this was your selection, so you are the one we are playing for. Kron and I gave you both a 4.0. Jill locked you in at 4.5. Kron, would you like to go first?
Jill, I'm going to guess you're a 5-star on this.
How did you know?
Bones, I think I'm going to go with 3.5.
Kron, I'm going to give you a 3.5. And Jill, I had already written down a 4.5 for you. And I know you said it, but since it doesn't really matter, I'm going to keep the 4.5.
So now I guess your guys' okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Ron, I think yours is 3.5 and Bones 4.
All right, Dan.
Jill, I'm going 5. Kron, I'm going 3 for Kron. Bones, I'm doing a 3.5. Kron Howard.
I think I went first in this order. So this is a weird one for me. Like, I feel like there are two things that I have to reconcile with this movie. One is effectiveness, and the other is entertainment, right? So, like, effectiveness, I would say this is, extremely powerful. I was very uncomfortable the entire time I was watching this. I mean, if you are just going for some kind of, I don't know, like imagery that will stick with you, or scenes that you won't be able to get out of your head, this is an extremely effective movie in that way. I also think the story is very important. I think the character development is like really, really well done. So there's a lot of those kind of elements that I really appreciate about this movie. As far as the other half, I mean, I feel like every single movie, I've almost rated it as how much did I enjoy the film, just on a personal level. And this is almost getting into that, like, Hereditary kind of place for me, where if I think about rewatching this movie, I will easily talk myself into rewatching Repo Man for the 50th time instead of this, because it does feel so heavy and weighty and disturbing. And it's just like, I don't mean to diminish the movie in any way, because it is very powerful, but I just don't think I could give this a ton of rewatches, like through, just because it's so powerful and it's a tough one to get through in a way. So I'm ultimately going to land on a 3.0 for this movie, but I do think people should watch it. Like, I would give it like a very strong recommendation, but it's just, it would be tough for me to revisit a lot, So that's why I landed on 3.0. Bones.
Thank you, Kron. This thing bumped substantially for me on the rewatch. After my first watch, I was at a 3.5. For a lot of the reasons that you mentioned, Kron. I think it was competent. Jill, I think you said confident earlier, and that really comes through. And compelling, the 3 C's. What I will say is, on that second watch, again, to mirror what you said, Kron, like, from the entertainment perspective of would I want to go back and watch this again, oftentimes in my ratings, I will say, well, how much fun did I have discussing it? Because that might be worth a point where it's maybe not great filmmaking, but it had a good vibe. So I'm going to give it a little bit there. I think that's important to do for this movie with its message and its execution. And the same way I'm going to give Pierce Brosnan's Livewire 4.5 on the inverse of that. I think you have to have this stuff. You have to watch these things. You have to feel these. You have to try to see what you would do in this situation and how it relates to your life. And this is one of the most effective watches I've had in some time on that. So this thing bumped up a full point. I'm a 4.5 on this. Jill, please.
I was like, do I go next?
Yes, please. Actually show us how to talk about a movie. That would be awesome.
Well, I feel like I've expressed how much I love it over the last couple hours. I actually had it at a 4 before we got on today, and I moved it to a 5 literally right now. I think because I realize how much this film inspires a conversation, and there's so much to discuss in it, and it's a film that leaves you thinking. And the way I have a lot of like a different differential of like films that are films I love that are really heavy like this, that I'm definitely not rewatching over and over, but that doesn't take points away personally for me. And then there's films that like I love that I would watch over and over and over. People can ask me like my favorite films wouldn't necessarily be films I want to watch more than twice in my life. It just depends on the exact question. Like Texas Chainsaw is my favorite horror of all time, but I think that one's it's a painful film. It's not fun necessarily, but I have seen that one a stupid amount of times for not being fun. But anywho, it's interesting, this film. I feel like I was saying, from the surface, it can feel like it's like a super stylish film, like the cinematography, production design is insane. But it's not just that. It's not like a lot of people just talk about style and no substance. This is absolutely not the case here. So much substance and style together, and a film that is, like I was saying, just it can be that powerful and have such an emotionally just rocking film at the end, with the moment with her dad and in the mall at the end. I think that kind of filmmaking is like the most inspiring. So I just love it. and that kind of confidence from a filmmaker that like stuck to this vision and wasn't because it's easy to be afraid to make something that's like this slow and still, and there's no action, there's only a couple of characters, and there's not a lot of like things happening. If you're like, it's really about a woman eating stuff, like it's not an easy thing to describe to somebody. But it's an incredible movie. I don't understand how this guy hasn't already made another film. But yes, I fucking loved it. 5 stars.
All right. Swallow from 2019, directed by Carlo Marabella Davis. If you told me that there was a movie out there where a girl swallows a push pin and a penny and a locket and a jack, I'd be like, in. And I think that's what this does. I think you see a preview and you're like, I'm going to watch that. Yeah. Like, that's crazy. But I think that is just such a tale right there for you to bite on. And it leads you down to such
a tale to suck on, you mean?
Yeah, a cat tail to suck on. Yeah, that's a good one. But it's just such a powerful story. I think, I don't know, I love how she's so colorful in the beginning and all that color just drains out at the end. I think Bones kind of hit on that a little bit. At the end, she's in a glass house of, okay, like you can see the metaphors and all that, but I think it works on all the levels. Like I said, I agree with Bones. I had that written down as well. I think this is a conversation piece that you should put yourself through. And I think at the end, it kind of delivers a breath of fresh air almost, or a relief, I guess. A kind of, all right, she's going to be okay. Like, like maybe it's your daughter or something. You could see like, all right, I did all right. She's going to be fine. But, yeah, I love, like Jill said, the camera is still most of the time. It doesn't move very much. And just, Hunter's performance there, Haley Bennett just does so much great shit with her face. Like Kron says, you could put it on mute and I think you could still follow along, just not by any of the dialogue. As Kron said, is this a rewatchability? Probably not. I own it, but like I said, I think for certain friends, this would be a good suggestion to make. I think they would enjoy that. Like I said, I love how, like I said, not a slow burn, but it burns constantly and it gets over just like that. It's in and out and it's so effective. It's a 4.0 for me. I don't know when the next time I'll watch it is, but yeah, you never know. So yeah, 4.0, gentlemen.
Wait, speaking of the rewatch ability thing, I probably would not have watched it again had you guys not brought me on to talk about it. And it's made me realize that most films, unless it's something I just really don't like at all, do need a couple watches for you to really digest them. The first time you're just like, trying to catch up to it. And then you don't have, it's like so much of this didn't set in, and just how thoughtful all the decisions in the film are. It's just like, I didn't get even half of this on my first watch. It's also a different experience when I watch it like with a friend versus like really studying the film. But I'm really thankful I watched it again, because I probably wouldn't have, because it is like such a heavy film. It gets harder to watch emotionally heavier films. The older I get, I can feel myself get more sensitive. But yeah, I'm glad I watched it again.
Well, we're glad you're here, Jill. Thank you for your time. Once again, tell everybody where they can find you, tell you where they can get your stuff at.
At Jill6 all over the place. Hopefully hoping to be announcing the new movie here real soon.
Hell yeah. Like I said, thank you for your time.
This was a
gentlemen,
blast.
anything else from Jill?
You were so much fun. You fit in great. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks for having me. This was fun.
All right. Well, we'll let you go. Should we do a crash and burn for her? Let's do a crash and burn.
You got to make her crash and burn. She had to sit through all that other stuff. Yeah.
What
All
is a
right.
crash and burn?
That is our
Just what
sign off.
We say at the
It's
end
our
of
sign
every
off.
episode. It's from Robot Jocks. That great
That great
cinema
movie that
milestone.
you've never seen.
Haven't seen it.
You're not missing anything.
Crash and burn.
Crash and burn.
Crash and burn.
Crash and burn.
You did it.
Is that your goodbye?
Yeah.
That's our goodbye.
Yeah.
All right. Welcome back, everybody, to the 5-Day Rentals podcast. This is the after shower segment of, I don't know, a very important episode for us. A real person that's made a narrative feature joined us. Thank you, Jill, for stopping by.
Yeah, like the classic TV sitcom commercial for this episode. You know, it would have like very somber music.
Mm-hmm.
You know, on a very special episode of 5-Day Rentals.
She did a beautiful job. Thank you, Jill.
Mm-hmm. Dan, not
All
a
right,
single
guys.
Bush reference that whole episode.
Yeah, I thought about starting it out of like, this is our review for the 1996 single Swallowed by Bush. Then I figured maybe that would.
Yeah.
you know.
No, instead I made a Robert Palmer Power Station reference. So
Mm-hmm.
I got you, bro.
Duh. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Kron, you had started.
Oh, just real quick. Guys, Swallow would have an average rating from the four of us of 4.13. This thing would end up at number 12 out of 119 movies currently on the big list. This would be right below Rad and right above Old Henry.
What are we doing to ourselves?
That's a weird triple feature right there.
We're becoming legit.
All right, guys. Real quick, Bones, do you have scores for the Rate My Letterboxd?
Yep. Ones all around.
Just tell him I'm winning, Kron.
Currently, Bones is winning with a 7.0. I would be behind him with a 5. And Dan, you couldn't get any points on this episode, so you're at a 3.5.
Rigged.
All right, Dan brought us the category. That's not healthy. I will say, I feel like more and more this is happening where if the category gets announced, most of the time, I'm like morning of figuring out what I'm actually going to lock in to be my selection. This was not the case. As soon as Dan told us what the category was, I had a movie that popped into my head and nothing ever beat it. We have been on a run of, I'll just say it, more prestigious films. We did the TV movie cart. We did Thief. We did Swallow. But guys, get ready to go back to your roots, because we're going to 1988 to watch Frank Henenlotter's Brain Damage. This is right in the 5DR wheelhouse. Some classic late 80s schlock. This thing is under an hour and a half. Not 100% sure if it's streaming. I think this was on Tubi. I will make it available to both of you. Have you guys seen Brain Damage before?
Have not.
I believe I have, yes.
I think for me, this was a early cinema jihad watch.
I'm probably going to call it brain dead throughout the entire record. I apologize.
Yeah, that's not it. That's a different movie.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one where the guy's opening up his mouth.
Karan, this is available on Shudder, Tubi, and Arrow.
But didn't we also cover Bill Pullman, Brain Dead?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, okay. I get confused with Basket Case.
So this is the same guy that did Basket Case and Frankenhooker.
Mm-hmm. Well, he did 2 and 3 for Basket Case.
You did 3?
He did
I don't
3
think
as
I've
well.
seen 3.
So, yeah, I believe I've seen this.
It's a good one. Definitely gets into some drug addiction territory. But it's its own beast, man. Brain Damage is going to be a fun watch. I've not seen this one in quite a while, so.
Well, fuck yeah, Karan. Thank you for bringing us back to getting too fucking big-headed over here, dude.
Yeah, man.
Thinking we're like a movie review podcast and shit.
For a while, we were acting like a professional podcast, and I think it confused a lot of the listeners, so.
Yeah, it got old having to pretend to be smarted and stuff.
It'll be good to get back in the sewer and, really rummage around where we're used to.
I don't have to wear suits anymore and shit.
Yeah, it'd be nice to be canceled for saying something stupid instead of misinterpreting a message.
Yeah.
Because this episode was treacherous.
What do you
It
mean?
was tough.
This is a good one, guys.
Had to be on my smartest behavior.
Yeah, this
And
required.
I think I failed.
This required very soft like gloves. They had to like Vaseline first.
You know what doesn't require soft gloves? Brain Damage. It's about like a turd worm that shoots electricity into your brain.
Thank God.
We went for turd worm.
I'm bringing the show back, dude.
I had a feeling that we were going into some schlock territory.
Yeah.
And I appreciate it.
It's what we're good at, dude.
Because when Swallow came up, I was like, that's a heavy one.
Hey man, the video store, the new release wall, shit's A to Z, homie.
People like when we cover shit and puppet stuff.
I think they like it when we cover a real movie, but we insert puppets and shit.
I think they're expecting us
The
to
numbers,
add puppets to
numbers,
everything.
yeah, the numbers don't support the fact that they enjoy the puppet foundation.
Yeah, but
They
it's
need-
like the core likes the puppet stuff.
Hey, we got
That's
some
true.
all-stars out there. Thank you for those two that you know
Yeah,
who you are.
We're playing to them.
Like, I wouldn't even want to go through that shit, and I have, but thank you.
Yeah, if we showed up in your Spotify Wrapped, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
100%. Have a merry holidays.
Are we ready to get out of here?
We gotta.
As always, follow us on social media. We're on Threads. We're on Instagram. We're on Letterboxd. There is a link to the Discord on every episode that drops a 5-day rentals every Wednesday. If you want to join the Discord, you can get us wherever you get podcasts. Crash and burn.
Brain and drain.
Milk button.
You guys want to code red?